Hi there, it's so great to have you here. My name is Katri, and in this video, we're going to set up a Sharetribe marketplace. If you've watched my 10-step guide to building a marketplace, you're familiar with step 5, build a minimum viable platform. If you want to learn more about MVPs and why they are important, I highly recommend checking out the video that I just mentioned and the whole 10-step guide while you're at it, to be honest. But in a nutshell, an MVP is the quickest thing you can build to start solving the core problems of your supply and demand. That's where Sharetribe comes in. With Sharetribe, you can build, launch, and run a marketplace without any coding. You get all essential marketplace features right out of the box, and you set up your platform with a no-code marketplace builder. Later, as you grow, you can also extend it with code. Sharetribe supports your business journey from the earliest days to scaling and beyond. But that's not the topic of this video, so let's get back to MVPs. We're here to build the first version of your platform. We'll go through setting up a Sharetribe marketplace all the way from account creation to creating content and choosing the settings your unique marketplace idea needs. What's going to happen next is that I'll build a marketplace called Biketribe, a location-based peer-to-peer rental marketplace for bikes. In addition to basic marketplace functionality like user and listing creation, Biketribe will have a location search, availability management, and a lot more. The aim of this video is to walk you through a marketplace setup step by step. You can then take everything you learn with you and set up your own. Or you could even start your marketplace setup now and go through the process with me. Let's get started. And where we start is the Sharetribe homepage, or any page on the Sharetribe website, to be honest. The first thing I do is click Start Building for free. The first thing we're asked is the name of the marketplace we're building. This is something that you can absolutely change later, so if you don't have your marketplace name yet, don't let it stop you. My marketplace, however, will be called Biketribe. Then I'm gonna enter in some information about myself and a password, agree with the terms, and once I click Create a Marketplace, I'm directed to the Onboarding questionnaire. Now I'm going to answer some questions about my marketplace and how it's going to be, and then Sharetribe will create a marketplace that already has these settings in place, so I get a kickstart into my marketplace setup. If you don't have a specific idea in mind, that's completely fine too. Sharetribe can also generate a random marketplace for you to just go and do some testing and trying out how it works. But in this case, we have a specific idea, so I'm just going to click yes. And I want to build my marketplace myself without coding, since I'm not really that technical. And my team is just me at the moment. The main activity on my marketplace will be renting products, vehicles, or properties. My customers will book by the day, and I am based in Finland, and we're going to use euros because that's what we use here in Finland. But the language of my marketplace will be English, since I do want to attract an international audience like tourists to my marketplace. And yes, my customers will want to search by location and view results on a map. And now we're preparing the marketplace. Simple as that. So here we are. We've created an account in Sharetribe and arrived in our test environment. This is the homepage. You can see a setup checklist with the bare minimum settings to update to launch your platform. There's also a bunch of helpful links on the right side, which I do recommend checking out. Let's take a look at your environments in the top left corner. A Sharetribe marketplace can have 3 different types of environments. As mentioned, we're now in the test environment. This is where you build your no-code marketplace and test and preview any further edits and modifications you want to make with the out-of-the-box settings. Next up is your dev environment. This is something you should enable if you want to customize your marketplace with code. And finally, the live environment, where your live marketplace will live. This is an environment that will be created when you're ready to onboard actual users and subscribe to a paid plan. The environments work together so that you make changes in your test or dev environment, depending on whether you're working with no code or code. Then you copy those changes into your live marketplace once you've previewed and tested them. But we're not there just yet. We're here to set up our no-code MVP marketplace. And the place for that is the test environment. Below the environment picker is the Manage section, and as the name suggests, this is where you manage your platform. Users, listings, transactions, and reviews will all appear here. In your test environment, you will have test data. In your live environment, you will have live data. And as you can see, we don't really have any data yet in the test environment, since we haven't even set up the marketplace. So it's time to get to the meat of the video, the build section. This is where you set up your marketplace. We'll go through each tab in this section to set up our marketplace Biketribe. Starting with General. The General tab includes the very basic settings of your marketplace name, here differentiated from your eventual live environment with the word test behind the marketplace name, as well as information about localization, listing approval, and outgoing email settings. These features become more relevant once you're ready to go live. So let's move on to content. First up in the content settings is Pages. Pages is where your unique content lives. You can edit your landing page, privacy policy, and terms of service here, as well as add all the new content pages you need. This might mean an about page, as seen here in our sample pages, a team page, or some keyword-targeted pages for SEO, maybe even a simple blog. Let's go through how to edit a page, and we'll work on the most important one, the landing page. Every content page consists of sections. These are something you can delete or edit. But let's check out how your page looks like now by clicking View Page. We have some example texts instructing you how to make changes to these specific sections and showcasing some examples of what kind of sections you can have. When creating your landing page, you can get a head start if you use the existing sections and only edit their content to match your needs. But for the purposes of this video, let's remove all the existing sections from the landing page and create a completely new one. I start building the page by clicking Add a new section. This section will be called Hero, as it is my hero section, the introduction to my marketplace. The section template I will use is the hero, which is specifically designed to work well as the first section of your page. The hero section title on my marketplace will be Bikes and Gears for Every Surface. And the section title size will be H1, since this is the title of my page as opposed to a subtitle. The section description will be the largest online community to rent bikes in Finland, and the section will have an internal link call to action. I want people who come to my marketplace to immediately go and start browsing bikes. And I'm going to add an internal link address here. For internal links, I don't need to enter in the full URL starting HTTPS and so forth. I can only add the path after the domain, which in this case is S. That's the URL to the search results page of my marketplace. The section appearance will be custom. This is because I want my marketplace to have a nice background image, which I'm going to upload first. And the text color will be white. And then I save changes. Let's take a look at how our landing page has changed. So that's the landing page hero section. Our page doesn't have anything else yet, so let's add a couple more sections to finalize this. I click Add a new section and give the section the name How It Works. The section template will be columns, and there will be 3 columns, and the section title will be How Sharetribe Works. And this time the section title size will be H2 since this is a subtitle. All of your pages should only have one H1 title. This is best practices for search engines and accessibility, since the H1 title will be the thing that your page is about, the main title of your page, and there should only be one of those for each page, and then you can have multiple H2 titles after that, or H3 and H4 titles, structured logically beneath each other. The section description for this section will be as follows. And in this section, we will have no call to action and we'll have a default appearance. So basically that's just a white background and a black text. But now we come to the content blocks. This is where most of the content in your pages will live. I click Add a new content block, give that block a name, which in this case will be Find. The block will have no media, so no images or a video, but it will have a title. And as Pages already suggests, the section subtitle will be an H3 title. And the block text will be as follows. And the block will have no specific call to action. I'll add a couple of more blocks. So I'll have a content section that goes from find a bike to make a booking and picking up your bike. Let's do some editing magic here to speed that up. Finally, there is the option to add an anchor link ID. This is not an obligatory thing, but the great thing about anchor links is that they let you link directly to this section on your page. So there will be a URL generated for this specific section. So if you want to, for example, direct your customers directly to How It Works without needing to scroll down at all. Let's save changes again and then add one more section For this one, I'm going to go with browse locations. So we're going to have a carousel of some featured locations on our marketplace. The section title will be Find a Bike Near You. And the section title again will be H2. And then I'm going to add a short description. This section will not have a call to action. We'll go for a custom appearance in this one because I want to add a background color to this section. I'm going to go with a pretty regular gray for now. I might change that later once I see how it looks. And leave the background image empty and add a black text color. And next, I'm going to add content blocks for each featured location. First up is Helsinki. And I'm going to add an image of Helsinki to the block. The aspect ratio of the image will be landscape. Then I'm prompted to add an alt text to the image. This is again super important for search engines and accessibility. Then the blog title will be Browse Bikes in Helsinki. The subtitle will be H3. I'm not going to add blog text, but I'm going to add an internal link to Helsinki-specific searches on my marketplace. This is an internal link, so I don't need to add the full URL, only what comes after my marketplace domain. You can easily get this address by searching for a location on your marketplace and then copying everything that comes after the dash in the URL. That's our first block created. Now I'm going to magic some more blocks into our location carousel. And I've saved my changes. So let's take a look at how our marketplace looks like now. Here's our hero section with the title and description. The button says Browse Bikes. There's a short how it works section, and then a carousel with images of the cities and towns Sharetribe offers bikes in. I actually don't really like the gray as a background, so I'm going to change it to something else. Okay, that looks a bit weird too, but I have a plan, so trust me on this. That's our landing page edited for now. I could at any point reorder the sections or add new sections or remove old ones. But let's go with this one for now. Next to the sections, you can find a tab for SEO and social. The SEO and social tab is a very important feature of pages that lets you suggest to Google and social media sites how they should present your page to searchers or people who come across it in their social media feeds. Since this is the landing page of my marketplace, I'm going with a simple bike tribe and then repeat my slogan, bikes and gear for every surface in the title. The page title here is what I suggest Google use as the title link on their search results page. The page description is something that I suggest Google to use in the description under the title link so that people can learn a bit more about what your marketplace is about and hopefully visit it. I'm going to use the same title and description for social media for now, but I could edit these at any time. For social media, I can also add an image. This is how you edit and create content with pages. I can also remove any page unless it is the landing page, privacy policy, and terms of service, which are obligatory pages that every marketplace needs. A privacy policy is a statement or legal document that discloses some or all of the ways your marketplace gathers, uses, and manages the user data that you collect. Terms of service, on the other hand, is a legal agreement between you or your marketplace and the user who wants to use your service. All users need to agree to these terms to create a user account on your marketplace. Sharetribe offers free templates for your privacy policy and terms of service provided by TermsFeed, the world's leading generator of legal agreements for websites and apps. You can use these to get a head start in getting these legal pages on your marketplace, but as you run your business, we highly recommend you reach out to a local legal expert to make sure that everything is on the up and up and that your terms of service and privacy policy match the services and the ways that you do business. So once I update the privacy policy and terms of service, I can move on to setting up our footer. The footer is a part of your marketplace layout displayed at the bottom of each page in your marketplace, with the exception of the search results page. First up in your footer is the slogan. Next up, we're going to add some social media links. I'm going to remove the old ones so that I can show you how to add these. I click Add a new social media link. First, I select a platform. Sharetribe will have Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Below the social media links, we have a copyright disclaimer. This short piece of text asserts your rights to the content on your site. Next to all of this, The final part of your footer is content columns. If we take a look at footers on established websites, we can quickly see that the standard approach is to add links to important pages on your site in the footer. This is great for users looking for a specific page like careers or features, but also for search engines. If a link is in the footer, search engine bots will find the page regardless of which page they land on. So in our footer, we'll have links to some important pages. Let's have links to the search page and a link to start posting a new listing. I'll also have links to the terms of service and privacy, and these are actually already in the sample footer, so I'm just not going to change these links at all. You can also see that the links have been formatted with Markdown, which is a lightweight markup language that describes how the text should look on the page. And this text will present as an internal link to terms of service. I save changes, and then let's view our footer on the marketplace. So it's at the bottom of the page here. Next up in the content settings is Marketplace Texts. The Marketplace Text Editor lets you edit even the smallest texts in your marketplace to match your content and style. With this editor, you can make sure that your marketplace uses the vocabulary of your target audience. Maybe you have a B2B marketplace and you want to go for a professional, polite tone. Or you might have a clown gear marketplace and want to go for a goofy and whimsical style. And very importantly, if you're going to operate a marketplace in a non-English speaking region, you can use the Marketplace Text Editor to translate your entire marketplace into a different language. So this is the editor. It lists all the small pieces of text in your marketplace. You can choose just one piece of text to change. For example, I could remove the from this password recovery form text. But I could also copy the entire contents of what is in the editor right now and bring it to a Google Doc, for example, and then edit everything over there. For example, in this file, I've edited every mention of listing into bike. Also, every mention of a provider has been changed to bike owner. And once I have made these changes, I'm going to copy that entire file into the Marketplace Text Editor and save changes. All these changes that I made to the small pieces of text on my marketplace are reflected in the marketplace as well. So for example, on my landing page, you can see in the top bar, the text post a new listing. And once I update, the same text says post a new bike. After that, let's move on to email texts. The email text editor looks very similar to the Marketplace Text Editor, and it works in the same way. This is where you edit the content of your automatic email notifications, which are sent to users at key moments in your marketplace, such as when they sign up or get a booking. Just like with marketplace texts, you can use the vocabulary of your target audience and make the tone and style fit your marketplace idea and market. And I already have an edited version of the email texts for Bike Tribe. Similarly to the marketplace texts, I've edited listings into bikes and mentions of providers into bike owners. I'm going to save changes, and that's it. So now we've gotten through the content tab in the build section. This is probably the most time-intensive part of setting up your marketplace. The rest of the settings we're going to go through are relatively simple to configure. Let's start with the most exciting one, the design. Here we have two tabs, branding and layout. In the branding tab, you configure your marketplace's main color, images, and brand assets. The main color of my marketplace will be a fabulous purple. I'm going to use the big display for the logo height. I'm going to upload my logo. And then I'm going to upload a favicon, which is shown in the browser tab, or a bookmarks bar. I'm also going to add an app icon, which is basically for mobiles what favicons are for laptops and desktops. I'm also going to add a background image for login pages and a social media image, and save changes. Let's do a quick view of our marketplace at this point. Okay, so I immediately can notice that the large logo display wasn't the best option here, so I'm going to go with medium instead. Let's see how that changes things. Much better. So that's our brand assets. Then let's do a layout. On this page, we actually have some settings enabled based on the answers that we gave in the questionnaire in the beginning. For example, my search page layout is the map view because I have a location-based marketplace where seeing the listings on a map is very important. I could also have a grid view, and you can see how these two layouts differ on screen now. The grid view is great for non-location-based marketplaces and product marketplaces, for example. And then the listing page image layout. I have the image carousel with thumbnails enabled. This is actually what I want as well. You can see the difference to the screen wide cover photo, which is maybe more for property rental marketplaces like Airbnb style platforms, whereas the image carousel with thumbnails really works great with product marketplaces and rental marketplaces like Sharetribe. And then the listing thumbnail aspect ratio, I'm going to keep that as landscape because that's the shape of bikes usually. I could also have portrait. That could be great for marketplaces that, for example, sell used clothes. And then there's also the option to use a square. But in this case, landscape is definitely the one that I want to use. Sharetribe already set up my layout pretty great, and I'm very happy with these options. Let's move on to listing settings. Starting with listing types. Your listing types determine what kind of listings your marketplace has and how customers interact with them. This is essentially where you determine whether your marketplace has rentals, services, products, or something else. You can see that my listing type is already set up as daily rental. Again, this was something that was generated for me when I answered questions in the onboarding questionnaire. Under the listing type settings, you can find transaction settings, where you determine what kind of transaction happens to a listing created in this listing type. Mine is calendar booking instead of buying and selling products or free messaging. And the booking unit is daily. I could also do nightly or hourly availability, but in this case, the daily availability generated for me automatically works great. On the listing types page, I could also add a new listing type. For example, if I wanted my marketplace to do both rentals and selling bikes. Since it's good to have a narrow focus in the beginning, I'm just going to have one listing type in the beginning. Next up is listing fields. Listing fields determine the information you want to collect from your suppliers about the listings that they add. All listings on Sharetribe marketplaces have default fields, title and description, after which you can determine custom fields that fit your specific marketplace offering. I'm going to start by editing this example field to match Sharetribe. So I enter in a field label, which is visible to users as the label of this custom field when they're creating a listing or filtering results. I'll add a field ID, which is a unique identifier of this custom field, and then choose the field type. In this case, I'm going to do a select one, which means that there will be options, and the supplier can only choose one of them when they're creating the listing. And I want to make this field mandatory, and then I'm going to add the options, which will be city, so city bike, and a road bike. You get the point. Let's speed this up. There we go. So we now have 5 options for this field. I want this field to be available as a search filter, and then I'm going to use it as a primary search filter, meaning that it will be the first filter displayed on the search page. Other listing fields that I want to have are accessories. For this one, I'm going to select multiple, which means that the supplier can choose many of these to be included in their listing. It is also a mandatory field, and then I'm going to add what the options are for this field. And they will be basket, bell, lock, and mudguard. And also adding this one as a filter on the search page, and we'll use it as a secondary filter, so after the one that we created earlier. I'll add one more field. This is going to be maintenance history. This field type will be free text, displayed as a free text area. The field will be mandatory, and I do want to include it in keyword searches. This means that if a customer does a keyword search on your marketplace, the search will return listings based on the contents of this field. So that's our listing fields. Moving on to listing search. The listing search settings determine how customers can search and filter listings in your marketplace. The main search type options are keyword search and location search. Since Sharetribe is a location-based marketplace, I'm going for location search. But for a marketplace where the location component isn't that important or non-existent, I would go for keyword search. When I choose the location search, I get the option to also display a keyword filter as an additional filter. So after a location search, customers can still use keywords to narrow down the results. Since I have a rental marketplace with daily availability, I'm also going to allow customers to filter results by dates. There are a couple of settings I need to determine for my date range filter, and the first one is availability mode. So when a customer selects a date range, do I want the search to return listings that have at least some availability within that date range, or if the listings returned should have full availability within that date range? I'm going to go with full availability because I assume most of my customers will be tourists looking for a bike to use for the full duration of their stay. The date range mode will be daily availability, so customers can search for just one day. If I used nightly availability, the minimum range that could be searched for is 2 days, because the date range start and end date can't be the same. I'm also going to display a price filter, the maximum value being 500 euros. I don't think anyone's going to be renting bikes that are more expensive than that. And then save changes. That's our listings configured. We're almost done with our marketplace setup, only a couple of tabs to go through. We move on to transaction settings, starting with commission. So commission is the built-in way to monetize your platform with Sharetribe, and Biketribe will be monetized in this way as well. You can have a marketplace without any online payments at all and use the free messaging listing type, but in this case, and in most cases to be honest, commission is the way to go. If you want to learn more about why commission is usually the best marketplace revenue model and what other options you have, I recommend checking out step 2 of our 10-step guide to building a marketplace, all about choosing a revenue model. In Sharetribe, you can charge a commission on each transaction from the supplier. The percentage you determine here will be charged on all online payments that happen through your marketplace. Sharetribe uses Stripe for payment processing. Your marketplace's cut will be deducted automatically from the customer's payment before it's paid out to the supplier. For Biketribe, we'll go with a commission of 12% and then hit Save Changes. And I can change the commission percentage at any time. For example, if I want to have a reduced commission rate for a couple of months as an early adopter bonus. And then there's minimum transaction size. The minimum transaction size means that payments made on your marketplace can't be smaller than this number, presented here in cents, since we're using euros. The minimum transaction size is important because Stripe charges processing fees on each transaction. The processing fee is a combination of a percentage and a flat fee, and it's charged from the marketplace's commission earnings. To guarantee that you won't lose money on transactions, you should determine a minimum transaction size. There's 2 more tabs in the build section, integrations and advanced. Here we can add analytics providers, verify our marketplace with Google Search Console, and then add our Stripe credentials to enable online payments. However, the integration settings really become relevant only after you subscribe and go live with your marketplace. We're still in the building stage, so we don't have to pay attention to these right now. In the advanced section, you can find settings that are related to custom developing your marketplace or using pre-built integrations. If you're building your marketplace fully no code and want to validate your MVP without developers, you don't really need to go deep into the advanced section at all. And how about that? We've gone through the entire build section. That means our no-code marketplace is now configured. This is Biketribe. We've gone through an entire marketplace setup and created an MVP with Sharetribe. Once you're here with your marketplace setup, the next thing I recommend you do is use the test environment to create a couple of users, post a couple of listings, and test how the transactions work. Your customers will be going through this process on your live marketplace, so it's good to know exactly how everything works so you can help customers with any questions that they might have. And once you've done your testing, it's time to go live. And we're done. That was setting up a marketplace with Sharetribe. And it definitely did not take us a long time. All of the settings that I configured can be changed at any time if you want to test them out or you notice that something else works better for your marketplace. You can also keep creating new content pages, for example, keyword targeted pages for SEO or a simple blog, maybe a team page, an about page. There are so many options here. What I've shown you in this video is a great way to get your MVP out there fast with a very small budget. Like I've said many times, your MVP is the first version of your marketplace. This is where the learning begins. I hope you found this video valuable and maybe that it inspired you to try out Sharetribe yourself. You can find a link to our website in the description. I also recommend checking out our 10-step guide to building a marketplace on YouTube, which is a great overview of building a marketplace business, regardless of whether you use Sharetribe to do it. Thank you so much for watching.